Greetings, everyone. With me is Warren Redmond, the founder of Emotional Fitness. Also, I got a penmanship name in the fiction writing. Warren and I just recently had a conversation around reaching the adult state, two adults, of being able to communicate and listen to one another. Or as a parent, being able to truly listen to our children. As we enter into the month of September, which brings awareness around suicide, Warren, I was wondering if you can share a little bit around how do we reach this state of having this communication and listening to one another, whether it's an adult listening to an adult. I'm okay, you're okay, as you shared earlier, the work of Eric Byrne and transactional analysis, and or being in a position to be able to listen to our children or the people around us. Can you share a little bit around that today?
Okay, I'll do my best in the short time that we have. As you know, Darren, emotional fitness is based on a number of approaches and theories done by people who I always saw as really the experts, the masters in their field, if you like. Eric Byrne was one of them, and his work of transactional analysis. And that's a long title for what it actually means, which is how we communicate with another person, what our transactions are like, therefore, and how we analyze what's going on. And he broke it down into those three, what he called ego states of coming from the parent, and that's perhaps a stereotypical parental point of view would be the parent who's an authoritarian one, or the one who's smothering, for example, communicating with, therefore, their child, who becomes less powerful, perhaps powerless, in the face of some authoritarian way. Now, it is a stereotype of a parent, but that's what he means, actually, that if we're aware that what we're doing when we talk to other people is getting into our remembered parent role of our own parents, and we come across in a perhaps an aggressive way. Our tone is very aggressive in a way towards the person we're talking to. The other person, the other side, is likely to revert to their old remembered childlike role and respond accordingly. So we come from either our parent role or our child role, and of course the third, the alternative that we're looking for, is the adult role. These, remember, are ego states. We all get into each of those three roles from time to time. The aim that Eric Byrne had was that we actually become adults in the room. Emotional fitness is based partly on a recognition of how we're communicating with someone else. And if we're aware that we're getting into our subconsciously, or probably unconscious, role of speaking from the parent point of view, then our communication is going to be skewed. Two parents talking to each other will be like this quite often. Two children talking with each other may get upset or angry with each other and never want to talk to each other again. Two adults talking to each other will have what I see as a way in which they can listen to and hear the other person more effectively. So that's our aim, to become adults in the room. We don't have to be that all the time, because the child in us wants to come out and play as well, and we can do that too. When two adults are together and are having fun, they're getting into their child, and that transaction is a healthy one. The important thing is to be aware of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and how the other person is. What was the question? How do we get into our adult? That's the whole work of emotional fitness, really. Let's learn how to listen primarily to ourselves, so that we understand where we're coming from when we're other people. Let's learn how to be an adult with another person, which means knowing how to listen to them and communicate in a way which is respectful, honourable, and where our transactions, our communication with each other, is a healthy one. Whether or not we agree, we can disagree with each other and yet treat each other in the respect that each of us, with our own opinions and desires and fears, deserve. How did we do? 5 minutes and 39 seconds.
Well, so I thank you very much, everyone, for taking time to listen and check in. But I have a question for you as you go through this video, and I'll come up with a question to invite you to reflect on, and I'm going to do the same sort of thing. And maybe, Warren, you can offer the audience a question. So Warren talked a little bit about the transaction between two individuals. And depending on how I show up and who shows up in the communication, it can be a healthy exchange. And if I really have the tools to be able to listen, and we both have tools to listen, and it shows up in a healthy way, what does that look like? How do I currently show up in my transactions and my relationships, whether it's personally, whether it's within our families, within business or organizations? So how do I currently show up? What does that currently look like is a question. And Warren, what's a question you have for the group?
My question would be, how do you check in with yourself to see what ego state you're in at the time when you're sitting with one other person or in a group? Could be in with the family. Where am I right now? And once you're aware of that, how can then I act in a way which, for me, becomes more adult?
Beautiful. Thank you very much. So a summary of the essence today, we had a chance to do a little bit of sharing and got a chance to listen to Warren share a little bit about his wisdom around being able, who do we show up, and what are the two different dynamics that might show up. Be able to have the tools to listen in a way that I would like to be listened to, and maybe someone who I'm with wants to be listened to as well. So that whole transaction. Anything you want to add to that summary, Warren?
No, all I'd say is that these are all part of the processes in emotional fitness. So whenever a group gets together, the first thing we ask them to do is a check-in, which really means, how do I check in with myself?
And what's your next step today as part of your plan, Warren?
Part of my plan. Well,
yeah, what's your plan?
I'm
What's your
going
next
to a meeting very shortly of a new significant arts project in this town, and I'm looking forward to how we can create a greater sense of arts and culture being really important to the human spirit.
Thank you very much, everyone, for sharing what came up for you during this particular video. What were some of the implications? What does it remind you of? And if you had to leave a thought of the day or a quote for the audience, what would it be, Warren?
The silence has to speak for itself.